The day I handed my sister Victoria the keys to her luxury apartment was the day I signed away my soul. I didn't know it then, but that chrome keyring might as well have been a noose. My name is Brooke, and I've spent 34 years being the responsible one, the steady one, the sister who always had her act together while Victoria had other priorities. I swear to God, Brooke, this is the last time I'll ever ask you for anything. Victoria's mascara-stained face looked up at me from my couch, her designer purse somehow still perfectly positioned despite her emotional collapse. Mom won't help, and I literally have nowhere else to go. I took a slow sip of my coffee, buying time. What happened to that waitressing job you said was going so well? The manager was totally inappropriate with me. I had to quit. She sniffled, dabbing her eyes with a tissue. Besides, that place was beneath me. I'm meant for better things. Of course she was, just like she was meant for better things than the retail job last month or the receptionist position before that. I'd heard this song before, usually right before she needed money. Vic, co-signing a lease is serious. If anything goes wrong, nothing will go wrong. She grabbed my hand, her grip desperate. I'm different now. I've grown. You've seen how much I've changed, right? Had she? The last family dinner flashed through my mind. Victoria showing up an hour late, making it all about her new spiritual awakening, then forgetting her wallet when the check came. My phone buzzed. A text from June. Don't do it. Remember the credit card disaster of 2021? How could I forget? Victoria had somehow convinced me to add her as an authorized user on my emergency card. 3 months and $7,000 in charges later, I was still paying off her essential shopping sprees. Please, Victoria whispered. I'll be homeless otherwise. I looked at my sister, really looked at her. Designer clothes, perfect nails, that familiar manipulative glint behind the tears. But she was still my baby sister, the one who'd crawl into my bed during thunderstorms when we were kids, the one I'd sworn to protect. Fine, I heard myself say, but we need ground rules. Victoria launched herself at me, wrapping me in a perfumed hug. You're literally saving my life. I'll follow any rules, I promise. You're the best sister ever. 2 days later, we met the landlord, Gideon, at the property management office. The apartment was gorgeous, floor-to-ceiling windows, hardwood floors, a kitchen that belonged in a magazine. Victoria practically vibrated with excitement as Gideon reviewed the lease terms. Just need your signatures here, he said, sliding the paperwork across his desk. Ms. Duncan, as co-signer, you're equally responsible for ensuring all lease terms are met. I signed my name, ignoring the warning bells in my head. Victoria snatched the keys the moment they were offered, her earlier gratitude already fading into entitled satisfaction. This is going to be amazing, she declared, twirling the keyring. I can finally live the life I deserve. We were walking to our cars when I saw him, a tall guy in an expensive-looking tracksuit leaning against a beat-up Dodge Charger. Baby! Victoria called out, suddenly giddy. Look what my sister did for us. Us? Brooke, this is Braxton, Victoria said, pressing herself against him. My boyfriend. He's an entrepreneur. Braxton gave me a lazy once-over. Cool of you to hook us up with this place. Us? I repeated, my stomach dropping. Victoria, the lease specifically states, oh my God, don't be so uptight. Victoria rolled her eyes. Brax and I are practically married. Besides, his business is about to take off. We're talking serious money. I watched them walk away, Victoria already showing off the keys like they were diamonds. My phone buzzed again, June asking how it went. I couldn't answer. I was too busy watching Braxton pop his trunk, revealing what looked suspiciously like moving boxes. What had I just done? 3 weeks after move-in, my phone lit up at 2 a.m. The landlord's name flashed across the screen, making my heart skip. Ms. Duncan, we've received multiple noise complaints from your sister's unit. Gideon's voice was clipped, professional. There appears to be a party in progress. This is the third incident this week. I sat up in bed, already reaching for my shoes. I'll handle it. Please do. The next step would be involving law enforcement. The drive to Victoria's apartment was a blur of anxiety and déjà vu. How many times had I done this growing up? Racing to whatever party she'd thrown when our parents were away, cleaning up her messes before they got home. Bass-heavy music vibrated through the building's parking lot. A couple of guys I didn't recognize were smoking near the entrance, red cups in hand. "Hey," one called out as I approached. "You here for Brax's networking event?" Networking event. Right. The apartment door was unlocked. Inside, at least 20 people crowded the space I'd last seen pristine and empty. The air was thick with smoke, and someone had taped LED strip lights across the walls. "Victoria!" I shouted over the music. "Victoria!" She emerged from the kitchen, drink in hand, wearing what looked like a new dress. "Brooke? Oh my God, what are you doing here?" "Turn it off." I pointed at the speakers. "Now." "You're not my mom," she scoffed, but must have seen something in my expression because she nodded to someone, and the music cut out. Confused murmurs filled the sudden silence. Braxton appeared, his arm sliding around Victoria's waist. "Yo, what's the problem?" "The problem is you're violating the lease." I pulled out my phone, showing them Gideon's text thread. "3 complaints this week? Are you trying to get evicted?" "These are business meetings," Braxton said, puffing up. "I'm networking with potential investors. You trying to sabotage my success?" I looked around at the investors, mostly 20-somethings in various stages of intoxication. One guy was attempting to balance a pizza box on his head. "Everyone out," I announced. "Party's over." "You can't," Victoria started, but I cut her off. "I can, and I am, because when you get evicted, guess who's legally responsible? Me." The apartment slowly emptied, leaving behind a war zone of red cups and cigarette butts. A dark stain spread across one wall where someone had apparently tried to open a wine bottle with a shoe. "You're such a buzzkill," Victoria slurred, dropping onto the couch. "This is why you're alone, you know. You can't let people live." "Live?" I gestured at the mess. "This isn't living, Vic. This is destroying property I'm responsible for." "We were celebrating," Braxton interrupted. "Just closed a major deal. My crypto investment strategy is about to save it." I pulled out my phone again, this time opening my camera. "I'm documenting everything. If you can't respect this place, You'll what?" Victoria stood, swaying slightly. "Run to mommy? Oh wait, she's tired of your perfect daughter act too. That's why she gave me her credit card instead of you last month." The words hit like a slap. Mom had been helping her behind my back? After everything? "Clean this up," I said, my voice hollow. "And no more parties." "Whatever." Victoria was already reaching for the speakers. "You can leave now. We've got this under control." I made it to my car before the music started again, even louder than before. My phone buzzed. A text from June. "Need backup?" "Not yet," I typed back. "But soon." Another message popped up, this one from Gideon. "Police were called by neighbors. This is your final warning before we begin documenting lease violations." I started my car, hands shaking. Through the rear-view mirror, I could see new people streaming into the building. The bass resumed its thundering pulse. Something had to give. Either I'd break, or this situation would. And I was tired of being the one who always broke. My phone lit up one more time. "Victoria. BTW, can you send me $500? Rent's due tomorrow and we're a little short. Love you, sis." I turned off my phone, put the car in drive, and made a decision. Tomorrow, I'd call Damien. It was time to get legal advice. Damien's law office hadn't changed since our breakup 2 years ago. Same leather chairs, same view of downtown, same coffee machine that had witnessed countless late-night case preparations. Only now, I was the client. "Let me get this straight," he said, reviewing the lease agreement. "Your sister's boyfriend, who isn't on the lease, is living there full-time?" along with half the wannabe crypto bros in the city, apparently. I pushed my phone across his desk, showing him photos from my morning inspection. Look what they did to the place. Damien scrolled through the images, his expression darkening. Is that a hole in the ceiling? Braxton claims he was demonstrating a new workout routine with a kettlebell. Jesus. He set the phone down. Brooke, this is serious. As cosigner, you're jointly liable for all damages. We're talking thousands in repairs. I know. That's why I'm here. He leaned back, studying me with the same intensity that had once made him such a good boyfriend, and now made him an excellent lawyer. What do you want to do? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. Victoria's face filled the screen. Speaking of the devil, I muttered, declining the call. Immediately, a text appeared. Where are you? Need to talk now. Gideon's being totally unreasonable. 3 more messages followed in rapid succession. He's threatening to fine us for unauthorized occupants. This is your fault for snitching. I need $3,000 by tomorrow or we're screwed. You owe me after all I've put up with. Damien read the messages upside down. Put up with? Apparently my privileged life has somehow oppressed her. I laughed, but it came out hollow. Never mind that I've been working since I was 16 while she what? While she convinced our mother that working would stifle her creative spirit. My phone buzzed again. This time, it was Braxton. Yo, we need to talk about your attitude. Come to the apartment. Now. Damien's expression hardened. Don't go alone. That guy's unstable. I have to see the damage for myself. I stood, gathering my purse. What are my options? Legally? Several. But first, document everything. Photos, texts, witnesses. Build a paper trail. He scribbled something on a legal pad. And call this person at the property management company. They handle lease violations. The drive to Victoria's apartment felt like marching into battle. I found Braxton waiting in the parking lot, arms crossed. You got some nerve, he called out as I approached. Snitching to management about my business meetings. Your business meetings left cigarette burns in the hardwood floors. That place was trash anyway. He stepped closer, using his height to loom over me. You're just jealous because Victoria's living the life you're too boring to have. The life I'm paying for, you mean? Listen, princess. He jabbed a finger toward my face, but I didn't flinch. No, you listen. I pulled out my phone, hitting record. Touch me, and assault charges will be the least of your problems. Something ugly flashed across his face, but he stepped back. Whatever. We don't need your charity anyway. Victoria. She appeared in the doorway, wearing designer pajamas that probably cost more than the rent she couldn't pay. Finally! Where's the money? I walked past her into the apartment and froze. The damage was even worse in daylight. Missing appliances. Walls covered in what looked like spray paint. The distinct smell of marijuana everywhere. Well? Victoria demanded. Did you bring it? I turned to face my sister. Really face her. No. No. Her voice rose an octave. What do you mean, no? I need that money. Not my problem. Not your, she sputtered. I'm your sister. Yes, I said quietly. And that's the only reason I haven't called the police yet. I left them standing there, Victoria's shrieks following me to my car. My phone was already ringing. Probably Mom, ready to berate me for not helping my sister. Instead, I called Gideon. Hi, it's Brooke Duncan, about that lease violation report. I'm ready to make a formal complaint. You're making a huge mistake, Mom's voice crackled through my speakerphone as I sorted through old photos. She's your only sister. Look what I just found, I interrupted, texting her a picture from Victoria's Sweet 16. Remember this? When she pushed my face into the cake because I stole her spotlight by getting into college that same week? She was just a child then. She's 28 now, Mom. And look what she texted me an hour ago. I forwarded the message. You stuck-up bitch. Have fun paying for all these repairs yourself. Should have thought twice before crossing me. Silence on the other end. Then, she's just upset. You know how sensitive she is. Sensitive? I laughed. Is that what we're calling it now? June sat beside me on my couch, helping organize the evidence I'd been collecting. Text messages, photos, videos, bank statements, a paper trail of Victoria's destruction spanning years. Holy shit, June whispered, holding up an old credit card statement. She spent $800 at a psychic? For career guidance. I shuffled through more papers. Mom paid that one off, actually. Your mother enables her, June said, loud enough for Mom to hear through the phone. Sorry, Teresa, but it's true. I don't appreciate, Mom started. Remember your sapphire necklace? I cut in. The one that disappeared when Victoria was 19. More silence. She sold it to pay for a weekend in Vegas. Told me herself, laughing about it. But I covered for her because you were going through the divorce and I didn't want to add to your stress. Brooke, Mom's voice wavered. I have a decade of receipts, Mom. Literal and metaphorical. And I'm done. The line went dead. June squeezed my hand. You okay? Better than okay. I stood, walking to my bathroom mirror. The woman staring back looked tired but determined. I'm finally awake. My phone buzzed. Gideon requesting a meeting tomorrow morning. Then another text from Victoria. Mom says you're being cruel. I only needed that necklace because you always got everything. Perfect grades, perfect job, perfect life. You owe me. June read over my shoulder. She's spiraling because she knows you're not backing down. For the first time ever. I turned to my friend. Why did I wait so long? Because you're a good person who wanted to believe in her sister. June started gathering the evidence into a folder. But good people can still have boundaries. My phone lit up again. Braxton this time. Your sister's crying because of you. Real nice. Better make this right or else. Or else what? I muttered, blocking his number. Should we be worried about him? June asked. No, he's all talk. I picked up the folder. But just in case. I snapped photos of everything, uploading them to a secure cloud drive. Then I texted Damien. Meeting Gideon tomorrow. Any legal advice? His response was immediate. Don't sign anything without me reviewing it. And remember, you're not the bad guy here. Later that night, alone in my apartment, I found one last photo. Victoria and me as kids, gap-toothed and smiling, her arms wrapped around my waist. We looked happy, normal. My phone chimed with a notification from my banking app. Victoria had tried to access my account using my old password. I changed all my passwords, enabled two-factor authentication, and then did something I'd never done before. I pulled up my sister's contact and hit block. The silence that followed felt like a thunderclap. Walking to my bathroom mirror again, I looked at my reflection and said the words out loud. I'm done. My voice didn't shake. My hands were steady. For the first time in years, I felt clear. I texted Gideon. Regarding tomorrow's meeting, I'd like to formally document the unauthorized occupancy of Braxton Price at Unit 407. His response came quickly. Documentation received. This will initiate an official investigation. I set my phone down and slept better than I had in weeks. The next morning, I dressed carefully in my most professional outfit. Today wasn't about being a sister. Today was about consequences. Gideon's office felt smaller with Damien beside me, both of us watching the property manager review our evidence. Each photo seemed to make him grimace more than the last. The unauthorized occupant is particularly concerning, Gideon said, tapping the lease agreement. Mr. Price has been living there since day one? Yes. I pulled up texts from Victoria's own phone. Screenshots of Braxton bragging about their apartment. He's running some kind of cryptocurrency scheme from the unit. That explains the unusual foot traffic. Gideon made another note. Our security cameras show dozens of people entering and exiting at all hours. Not to mention the noise complaints, Damien added, which are documented here. My phone buzzed. Victoria trying to call from a blocked number. Again. I declined without hesitation. Ms. Duncan, Gideon leaned forward. Given the severity of these violations, we're prepared to begin eviction proceedings. However, as co-signer, I understand my liability, I said, but I'd rather pay damages than continue enabling this behavior. Damien nodded approvingly. We discussed this strategy last night. Take the financial hit now to prevent worse losses later. Very well. Gideon pulled out a formal document. This notice will be delivered today. They'll have 3 days to respond. As if on cue, my phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. Braxton using a new line. Better watch your back. Nobody messes with my business. I showed it to Damien, who immediately started typing on his phone, adding it to the harassment file. Should we be concerned about threats? Gideon asked. Braxton's all talk, I said, but Damien shook his head. We're documenting everything, just in case. Walking out of the office, I felt lighter somehow. Until I saw her, Victoria, standing by my car. Seriously? She stepped forward, designer handbag swinging. You're trying to evict me? The property manager is evicting you, I corrected, due to your lease violations. I'm your sister. She grabbed my arm. How can you do this to me? Let go. Not until you fix this. Her mascara was already running. Mom's right. You've always been jealous of me. That's why you're doing this. Jealous? I pulled free. Of what? Your inability to hold a job? Your toxic relationship? Your talent for destroying everything you touch? At least I know how to live. She was full-on crying now, but I recognized the performance. You're just a boring, controlling... Ms. Duncan? Gideon's voice cut through her tirade. He stood in the doorway, security guard beside him. Is everything all right? Victoria's face transformed instantly, tears vanishing, replaced by cold fury. You'll regret this, she hissed. I'll make sure of it. I watched her storm off, designer heels clicking on pavement. My phone buzzed with a text from June. How'd it go? Before I could respond, Gideon approached. Ms. Duncan? A moment. He spoke quietly, professionally. The maintenance team just inspected the unit. There's significant additional damage, including what appears to be intentional flooding in the master bathroom. My stomach dropped. When? Within the last hour. He showed me photos on his tablet. Water everywhere, walls already showing damage. While you were in our meeting. She knew, I whispered. She knew I was here, so she... We're expediting the eviction, he said. But you should prepare yourself. Based on my experience, this is just the beginning. Damien was already making calls, discussing restraining orders and civil suits. But I barely heard him. My phone kept lighting up with messages. Mom, how could you do this to your own sister? Unknown. Number. You're dead. Watch your back. B. Victoria. Hope you're happy. You've ruined everything. Then one final text. This one from Gideon. Police report filed for vandalism. Eviction notice will be served tomorrow morning. Be prepared for retaliation. I got in my car, hands shaking slightly. Not from fear, from certainty. This was going to get worse before it got better. But for the first time in my life, I wasn't backing down. Let them come. The eviction notice hit like a bomb. 17 missed calls in 20 minutes. Then the voicemail started. You've ruined my life! Victoria's first message was pure hysteria. I'm literally going to be homeless. My office phone rang next. Our mother. They're serving her papers right now. Mom's voice trembled with anger. She's hysterical. How could you? The same way she could flood an apartment deliberately. I kept my voice level, watching my computer screen as work emails piled up. Or let her boyfriend threaten me. He would never... A commotion outside my office cut her off. Through the glass walls, I saw him, Braxton, arguing with reception. I need to go, Mom. I hung up, already dialing security. Too late. He burst in, face red with rage. You think you can just destroy our lives? Sir, you need to leave. I stood, finger hovering over the panic button under my desk. Not until you fix this. He slammed both hands on my desk. Do you know how much money I lost? My investors were meeting there tonight. Your crypto scam, you mean? His face twisted. You stuck-up bitch. You think you're better than us? Security finally arrived, 2 guards filling my office doorway. Sir, step away from the desk. This isn't over, Braxton spat as they approached. Victoria's right. You've always been jealous. At least she knows how to have fun instead of being a corporate slave. They escorted him out, his threats echoing down the hallway. My phone buzzed again. Victoria. That's assault! Her voice was shrill through the speaker. Braxton told me how you had security attack him. I'm calling the police. Go ahead. I saved the security footage to my email. I'm sure they'd love to hear about your boyfriend's threats. Why are you doing this to me? She was crying again, but the tears felt weaponized. I'm your sister. We're blood. Blood doesn't excuse everything, Victoria. Mom always said you were heartless. Her voice turned cold. That's why Dad left, you know. He couldn't stand your judgment either. The words hit their mark, but I didn't flinch. Is that what she told you? Interesting, since he left right after catching you stealing from his wallet. Silence. Then, I hate you. I know. My office phone lit up again. Reception. Ms. Duncan, your mother is here. Of course she was. Mom burst in moments later, designer pantsuit immaculate despite her obvious distress. We need to talk about this vindictive behavior. Vindictive? I pulled up the apartment photos on my monitor. Look at what your precious Victoria did. She glanced at the screen, then away. She's going through a difficult time. When isn't she? I stood. And when will you stop enabling her? I'm not. You gave her your credit card last month, after swearing you wouldn't enable her spending anymore. Mom's face flushed. She needed help. No, she needed consequences, years ago. I turned the monitor off. And now she's getting them. She'll be homeless. She has choices. She could get a job, move somewhere affordable, leave Braxton. I met her eyes. But she won't, because you'll rescue her. Again. And you won't help at all? Your own sister? I helped for years. I covered for her theft, her lies, her manipulation. I co-signed that lease because you both guilt-tripped me. My voice stayed steady. I'm done being the family ATM. Mom's expression hardened. Then you're no daughter of mine. Funny. I sat back down. I was just thinking the same thing about being a sister. She left without another word. My phone buzzed one final time, a voicemail from Victoria. I almost deleted it without listening. Almost. You think you've won? Her voice was different now, dangerous. You have no idea what's coming. You took everything from me? Fine. Let's see how you like losing everything too. I forwarded the message to Damien, then called Gideon. The maintenance team just called, he said before I could speak. There's a situation at the apartment. They found a raccoon, inside, and something's wrong with the walls. I closed my eyes. How bad? You should come see for yourself. And maybe bring the police. The police officer whistled low as we surveyed the carnage. Ma'am, you said your sister did this? And her boyfriend. I stepped carefully around broken glass. The raccoon was gone, but it had left evidence everywhere. They received the eviction notice this morning. The apartment looked like a war zone. Every wall had holes punched through them. The hardwood floors were scratched beyond recognition. And the smell, a mixture of garbage, marijuana, and what might have been rotting food, made my eyes water. We're looking at over 9,000 in damages, Gideon said, photographing everything. Minimum. My phone buzzed. Victoria. Hope you like the redecorating. The officer read the message over my shoulder. You'll want to keep that as evidence. Already am. I forwarded it to Damien, who was speaking with the property's legal team in the hallway. Good news. He stepped back inside, ducking under crime scene tape. You're off the hook for the damages. How? Remember when we modified your co-signer agreement last week? The clause about unauthorized occupants? He smiled grimly. The moment Braxton's residency was officially documented, your liability became conditional. Victoria's deliberate vandalism voids it completely. Gideon nodded. Our legal team agrees. The civil suit will target Ms. Victoria and Mr. Braxton directly. My phone lit up again. Mom calling. I declined it. They'll never pay, I said, watching the forensics team dust for fingerprints. Victoria hasn't held a job in years, and Braxton's business is a scam. No, Damien agreed, but they'll have wage garnishments following them for years. And this? He gestured at the destruction. This is criminal vandalism. They're looking at serious charges. A commotion erupted in the hallway. Victoria's voice, shrill and desperate. That's my apartment! You can't keep me out! The officer moved to intercept her as she tried to push past the crime scene tape. Ma'am, this is an active investigation scene. Brooke! She spotted me, mascara already streaking. Tell them to let me in. I need to get my things. Your things? I looked around at the wreckage. Like the appliances you sold? Or Mom's jewelry box I just found empty in the bathroom? Her face changed. That familiar flip from victim to fury. You're pathetic. You know that? So desperate for control. No wonder you're alone. Ms. Duncan, the officer stepped between us. You need to leave, or you'll be arrested for interference. Fine! She backed away, pointing at me. But this isn't over. You think you're so perfect. Wait until everyone sees what a vindictive bitch you really are. She stormed off, nearly colliding with Gideon, who was returning with more forms. $9,347, he announced, showing me the estimate, plus cleaning fees. Send it all to their last known addresses, Damien said, and copy me on the legal notices. My phone buzzed one last time, a text from Victoria. I just wanted to be you. You've always had everything. For a moment, I felt that old pull, the guilt, the responsibility, the weight of being the good sister. But then I looked around at the destruction she'd left behind, and something hardened in me. No, I typed back. You never wanted to be me. You just thought it should be easy. I blocked her number before she could respond. The civil suit will be filed tomorrow, Damien said as we left, and the criminal charges should follow within the week. What about Braxton's threats? Already submitted for the restraining order. He paused at his car. You okay? I looked back at the building. At the window I knew was Victoria's apartment. Through it I could see the forensics team still working, documenting every bit of damage she'd inflicted. Just like I'd documented every bit of damage she'd done to me over the years. Yeah, I said. I'm okay. And for the first time in my life, I actually meant it. My phone stayed silent the whole drive home. No more calls from Mom, no more texts from Victoria, no more threats from Braxton. Just silence and peace. Finally. You need to see this, June said, sliding her phone across my desk during our lunch break. It was a social media post from Victoria, her first since the eviction. Looking for new apartment recommendations, the post read. Previous landlord was totally unreasonable, willing to pay cash up front. The comments below told the real story. Sorry, girl, you're blacklisted in most buildings downtown. Maybe try the suburbs? I heard about what happened. Yikes. She's been couch surfing, June said between bites of salad. Braxton bailed when he heard about the wage garnishment. I handed the phone back without commenting. My own phone buzzed. Damien. Just got the final judgment, he said when I answered. They're both liable for the full amount. Victoria tried claiming she was coerced into the damage, but the judge wasn't buying it. Where is she staying? Not with your mom, surprisingly. Teresa finally drew a line. That was news. I'd blocked Mom's number weeks ago, tired of the guilt trips. Really? Really. Apparently, Victoria tried using her credit cards again after the eviction. Teresa canceled them all. My office door opened. Gideon, holding a thick envelope. Ms. Duncan? Final paperwork for your records. Inside was a copy of the judgment, plus photos documenting every bit of damage. At the bottom, a personal note. Thank you for doing the right thing. Not many would have had the courage. My phone lit up with a notification. Victoria had somehow created a new account to message me. They're garnishing my wages at the coffee shop. My wages! This is all your fault. I had to move in with Dad. I almost laughed. Dad, who she'd stolen from. Dad, who she'd blamed for leaving. That must be killing her. Karma's funny that way, I typed back, then blocked the new account. June was watching me. You okay? Better than okay. I stood, gathering my things. Want to grab dinner? I'm meeting Damien to celebrate the judgment. Ooh, Damien! She wiggled her eyebrows. The ex who's been so helpful lately? It's not like that. Sure it's not. We were heading out when security called up. Ms. Duncan, your mother's here. I almost said no. Almost. Send her up. Mom looked smaller somehow, standing in my office doorway. Her designer clothes were the same, but something was different. Deflated. Victoria's with your father, she said without preamble. I heard. Mom's voice cracked. She took my jewelry before she left. Everything. Even your grandmother's pieces. I waited. I filed a police report, she continued. They said it's not the first time she's been reported for theft. No, I said quietly. It's not. Mom sat heavily in my visitor's chair. I enabled her. All these years I made excuses. Blamed everyone else. Even you. She looked up, eyes wet. Especially you. Yes, you did. I'm sorry. The words came out broken. I'm so sorry, Brooke. I studied my mother. Really looked at her. The woman who'd always chosen Victoria. Who'd blamed me for being too harsh whenever I tried to enforce boundaries. I can't fix this overnight, I said finally. But maybe we can get coffee sometime. Talk. She nodded, standing. I'd like that. After she left, June squeezed my hand. You're a better person than me. No. I looked at the judgment paperwork on my desk. Just finally a smarter one. My phone buzzed one last time. An unknown number, but I recognized Victoria's old voicemail, the one I'd saved from the day of the eviction. Her voice, raw with tears. You've ruined everything. I played it, letting the words wash over me. Then I hit delete. Ready? June asked. I grabbed my purse, leaving the paperwork, the photos, and the last traces of guilt behind on my desk. More than ready. Outside, the evening air felt clean. New. Like everything toxic had finally been washed away. Victoria thought I owed her everything. What I gave her instead was the only thing she ever truly earned. Consequences. And for the first time in my life, that felt exactly right.